So this will be a little bit more detail about the car stereo boombox that I made. Started with a normal ATX power supply meant for a computer that I picked up here for about 20 bucks. You can see that all my connections are tape and twist. That's due to the temporary nature of this, as I do plan to put it into a vehicle as soon as we get one, provided said vehicle doesn't have something equally as good. In which case I will actually come back and do these in with solder and heat shrink. However, heat shrink is all being imported from the States right now via relatives and friends, and so I am loath to use it on something that I'm just going to take apart, hopefully within the next couple of months. But to give you an idea of how this is set up, this is my power lead here, coming from the 12-volt takeoff of the power supply. It's just the black and yellow leads on that particular connector that I've patched into the power inputs of the stereo. On the main motherboard connector of the power supply, pin 16 on that connector right there is for power on, and you disconnect it to a ground on the same connector to get the power to come on the power supply. And so I have that routed to this switch on the front, and so that's my main power. And when I turn that on, we get fan spooling up, and we have 12-volt power coming to my Pioneer connector. So we'll just slide this baby back in there. As you can see, I have done speaker connectors for all of my external connections. I did the same thing on the boxes. Even though it is temporary, I do like to have quick and easy speaker connection releases. Now the only downside of having it set up like this, and I don't know that there's a solution for this, is that every time I turn the switch off and kill the power supply, it's the same as if I had disconnected this from a battery in a car, and so there's no memory depth. Hey! It always starts in a good song though, right? So I have to redo the EQ and everything like that if I want to mess with that, because it just goes back to default. But so far that's not a big deal. But I've only been playing with it for the last couple of hours, so we'll see if it turns into one or not. So as I mentioned in the other film, the fan of the power supply is providing cooling for the whole box, much the same as it would in your computer case. You'll note in the lid I've put this row of holes to give it specific ventilation to pull air over the top of the stereo unit and down across the back. The main air current is going right across that heat shrink or heat sink to provide the best cooling for the stereo. And I've also installed the stereo with about a 1-inch gap over the top, so there's a nice column of air pulling across there to keep that nice and cool. And that's pretty much it for that.